Fallout New Vegas. Thank you to Bethesda Softworks. Thank you to Obsidian Entertainment. Thank you to the developers. Thank you to JE Sawyer. Thank you to Lawrence Liberty. Thank you to Mikey Doling. Thank you to Jason Fader. Thank you to Matt Singh. Thank you to Tess Treadwell. Thank you to Brandon Adler. Thank you to Matt Rory. Thank you to Joe Santabria. Thank you to Brian Menz. Thank you to Scott Everts. Thank you to Jason Sereno. Thank you to Daniel Alpert. Thank you to Aaron Brown. Thank you to Kevin Manning. Thank you again to Aaron Brown. Thank you to Kochi Cantu. Thank you to Roger Chain, Sean Dunny, Paul Fish, James Garcia, Ed Lakaban, David Liu, James Malili, Megan Parks, Kristen C. Wong. Thank you to Mitch Alschweed. Thank you to Daniel Alpert, Aaron Brown, Paul Fish, and Kevin Manning. You're right back at it. Thank you, Jessica Edge. Thank you, Denise McMurray. Thank you, Megan Parks. Thank you, Sydney Wolfram. Thank you, Chris Willis. Dude, thank you, Massive Black. Hello. Thank you, Mark Bremerkamp. Thank you, Seth McCoffey. Sean Stewart. Or is it McCoy? Something like that. Anthony Rogers. Thank you to Scott Lawler. I don't know how to pronounce any of these people's names. Thank you to Justin Biel. Thank you to Andrew Deering. Thank you to Jonathan Pendergrass. Thank you to Frida Wolf. Again, my man, thank you, JE Sawyer. Thank you, Charlie Staples. Northside. Thank you, John Gonzalez. Thank you, Jesse Farrell. Thank you, Eric Fenstermaker. Akil Hooper. Jeff Husgies. Rob Lee. Jorge Salgado. Travis Stout. Jara Vosevich. Thank you to Eric Beaumont. Jessica Johnson. Casey Kwok. Matt McLean. Denise McMurray. Stephanie Newland. Sydney Wolfram, once again. Thank you to Chris Avalone, Eric Fenstermaker, and Travis Stout. Thank you to Tess Treadwell, George Zeitz, Jason Bergman, Nick Brecken, Matt Grandstaff, Will Noble, Andrew Scharf. Thank you to Frank Kowalski, and Michael Bosley, Jonathan Burke, Justin Raynard, Dan Rubalcaba, Rob Smith. Also, thank you to Andy Archer, Adam Bernecki, Matt Campbell, Jason Fader, Brian Fox, Sven Knutson, Eric Navales, Javier Oliveras, and Daniel Tay. Thank you to Ashley Betters, Casey Kwok, and Anthony Rogers. And this is a thank you for the Fallout New Vegas DLC. Oh my gosh, the DLC is included in this. This is going to take like 40 minutes. Thank you to Chris Avalone. Thank you to J.E. Sawyer. Thank you to Jason Fader, Mikey Dowling, Akil Hooper, Matthew Singh, Natalie Gomez, Hugh McGinley, Joe Santabria. I think we're just like repeating a bunch of people's names over again, but that's fine. Thank you, Brian Menzie. Thank you, Julie Kim. Once again, thank you to Daniel Alpert for like the 7th time, and Kevin Manning, the lost Manning brother. He was on the Delaware Clams, if you didn't know. Thank you to Aaron Brown. Thank you, JD Serentz. Thank you, Jonathan Lopez. Thank you, Chris Willis. Thank you, James Garcia. Thank you, Kristen C. Altamirano. Thank you, Brad Boyles, Aaron Brown, Sean Dunny, Rose Gomez, David Liu, James Malili, Megan Parks. Also, big shout out to Mark Bremerkamp again, and Seth Kafifi, Scott Lawler. Thank you to Andrew Deering. Thank you to Justin Bilali and Justin Peck. Thank you to Mikey Dowling. Now we're getting into the lead level designer. Once again, Charles Staples, Northside, Long Beach. Eric Beaumont, the dog, the homie, the living legend, J.E. Sawyer. Scott Everts. Thank you to the World Builders and Jessica Edge, Denise McMurray, Megan Parks, and it's Sydney Wolfram once again. Thank you to Jesse Farrell. Thank you to Jeff Husgies, Jessica Johnson, Robert Lee, John Lewis, Denise McMurray, Oliver Pugnan, Jorge Salgado, Travis Stout, Sidney Wolfram, Ryan Zingler. Also, thank you to Akil Hooper, Casey Kwok, J.R. Vasovich. Thank you to Chris Avalone, John Gonzalez, JE Sawyer, and Travis Stout. Thank you to Tanya. Man, I'm going to butcher that. I apologize, but Thomkrupat, Jonathan Burke, Frank Kowalski, Jason Fader, Anthony Rogers, Ashley Betters, and once again, Casey Kwok. Thank you to the president and CEO of Obsidian, Fergus Urquhart, Chris Parker, Darren Monahan, Chris Avalone, Chris Jones of a Chief. Look, it's right there in the title, Chief. He's a Kansas City Chief, everyone. Chris Jones. What an impressive gentleman. Chris Benson, John Wonder, Tina Parker, Jessica Edge, Megan Tiernan, Jim Rivers, Jennifer Hendricks, the misappropriation of the spelling of the name Kramer and Olson, Jeffrey Rose. Big, big, big special thanks to Guy Carver, Tyson Christensen, Jean-Eric Khalif, Steve Weatherly, Meredith Sophia, and Logan for giving up. Dad. To the Naked Ninjas for helping unwind AH. To my family and friends for being supportive. A. Malecki, San Diego. Oh my God. M. Callahan, Lieutenant. Colonel Johnson, AD. Caitlin, Dad, and Mom. May she rest in peace. BM. To Sarah Spoford for letting me bounce ideas off her gnome. To my wife, Kim, for letting her thing. Oh my God. Leslie, Isabella, and Colin Alpert. Thanks to Alex Lee, Brian, Robert Rigato, and Riona Lee, the few friends that I know and have left. My mom, Diane, for taking care of me. Heather Wagenbach. Jonathan Hayter. Oh my Lord. I'm going to start at the bottom. Hold up. Thanks to Angie. My lovely and only, and I promise it won't be a Vegas wedding. MFP forever. Thanks to my girls, Erica, Abigail, and Sophia, and to G. Eichler and I. Thomason for the wood palette. Our physics sounds wouldn't be the same without it. To Mike C. Ultra Mirano, the Dennis Wong family, Uncle Z. Francis, Mao, Tib, Donley, John Morgan, Dennis Presnell. Thanks for the beautiful support and inspiration. Thanks to my beautiful wife, Amelia, for the patience, and the entire Liberty clan for the love and support. Brian Morris, Colin Kostler, Amanda Sotner, Nick and Kari, and oh, yeah, okay. Thank you to everybody on the screen. Holy shit. It was pretty easy up until I got to that point. The cast of the game, thank you to Matthew Perry, RIP. Thank you to Wayne Newton. Thank you to Chris Christofferson. I'm Pistofferson. Thank you, Ron Perlman. Zachary Levi. William Sadler. Renee Aber. Oh, what is that? Aberhanoy? Aberhanois? It's got a pronunciation. It's pretty cool, though. I'd love to learn someday. Michael Dorn, Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo's in this game? What the fuck? John Doman, Felicia Day, Dave Foley is Yes Man, Rob Corddry, Michael Hogan, Alex Rocco, Papa Khan himself, Ian Gregory. The King Baby is James Horan, Kirsten Potter, Dave B. Mitchell. Speaking of Mitchell, shout out to Mitch Lewis. Fred Tatasciore. Jason Marsden. Jason Spizak. Monty Markham. David Anthony Pizzuto. Rachel Roswell. RoboBrain. Will Wheaton. The Will Wheaton? Oh my gosh. Nobody tells Sheldon. William Mapother, Zoe Bell, Jude Cello, Emerson Brooks, Mark Grau, Robin Atkin Downs, John Eric Bentley, Chris Ciola, Sam Riegel, Karen Strassman, Susan Britton. The children were played by the Sam Cohen. Wow. Halston Autumn McMurray, Ashley McGullum, Anthony Crean. And the additional voices go to Alex Mendoza, Andrea Thompson, April Stewart, Ari Rubin, Avery K. Waddle, Chris Andrew Ciula, Cindy Robinson, Courtney Taylor, Christina Puccelli, Dante Reed, Deborah Wilson, Diane Pershing, Donna Lynn Levy, Emerson Brooks, Gregory Allen Williams, Gwen McGee, H. Richard Green, Jesse Birch, John Eric Bentley, Jude Cello, Catherine Pollock, Laura Bailey, Liam O'Brien, Laura Kane, Marianne Mueller, Mela Lee, Paige King, Peter Renaday, Robin Atkin Downs, Ron Wan, Sam Riegel, Shane Johnson, Steve Blum, Bloom, Yuri Lowenthal, the Yuri Lowenthal, Zoe Bell. Thanks, Spider-Man. Holy shit. Dead Money cast. Dean Domino, Barry Denon, Richard Hurd, Dave B. Mitchell, Laura Bailey, Honest Hearts cast, Joshua Graham, Keith. Oh, hey, that's a lot of consonants next to each other. Sarbiaka. Damn, I don't have time to process that. Rick Pascalone, Dave Fenoy, Missy LeCoub, Adam G, Christian Lands, Alejandro Firth, shout out to Adam G, Eliza Schneider, Eduardo Idinate, Elisa Gabrielli, Marcelo Toubert. I'm gonna say Toubert because it sounds French and I think that's cool. It might not be French though. It's a White Legs male. Michelle Bonilla, and the Old World Blues cast. Cam Clark, Jim Ward, Bo Weaver, Jocelyn Blue. It's a dope name. James Urbaniak. Why is there an apostrophe after James? James? Heck yeah. All right. Sunil Malhotra, Veronica Belmont, Jace Hall, Rayshawn Underdew. Whoa. Your last name's Underdew? Person of the Year, Roger Cross. And once again, reprising his role from 2 lines above is Roger Cross, Jesse Birch, Cindy Robinson. Thank you to the celebrity acquisition from Blindlight. Thank you, Timothy Cubison, for the casting and production. You know, supervising, shit's hard. Thank you to Austin Snyder, Poppy Orphanitis, Brenda Marie Phillips, and the voice directors Wes Gleason, Sam Riegel, Philip Bach, Harry Burkle, Timothy Cubison. Thank you to Will Volkman, Zach Tyson, David Veneziano, Mark De La Fuente, J. David Atherton. So it's one of the two. I don't like long vowels. Clint Corley, Lucas Hurl, Brenda Marie Phillips, Charlie Silver, Chad Quant, Stephen Leonard, one of the two. J. David Atherton, Harrison Dutch, Chris Candido, Andrew Mezzi, Ernia Kucherenko, Will Volkman, Aaron Seiden, Charlie Silver, Greg Seiss, Michael Patterson, John Chominski, Matthew Brown, Eric Foreman, Rob Ellenberg, Bewo Ijirigo, and Jacob Craner. Alex Lifshitz, that's unfortunate, and Enon Zur from enonzur.com. The performers, Joe Pargman, Carrie Kennedy, Luke Maurer, Timothy Liu, Mark Morgan, based on Fallout 3 by Bethesda Game Studios. Thank you, Bethesda Game Studios. These is now credits for Bethesda Softworks themselves. Jason Bergman, Will Noble, dope name, Jonathan Williams, Vlatko Andanov, Todd Vaughn, Ron Seeger, the man, the myth, the legend, the Peter Hines. That's Pete Hines. Why did you say Peter? Reggie Jacob, Steve Perkins. Yo, is that like Perch Perkins? Tracy Thompson, Matt Grandstaff, Nick Brecken, Lindsay Westcott, Michael Wagner. Don't forget about Angela Ramsey, the video producer, Matt Kelman, and Darren Maines. We're going to let the text scroll up a little bit so I can catch up. Definitely not taking a drink of water. Rob Gray, Andrew Scharf, Sam Bernstein, Joe Mueller, Dan Ross, Jen Tonnen, John Pisano, Michael McGinn, Aaron Michelin, Michael Latanzia, Jason Little, Ian Rogers, Greg Riddick, Mike Mazuka, Kurt Weaver, Hal Jenkins, Brett Krish, Terry Dunn, Alan Webb. Additional Q&A, Brian Bloomsfield, James Costantino, Christopher Kreitz, Matt Weil, Alec Ahern, Michael Altman, Lupu, Ken Barner, Nicholas Bonet, Matt Brower, Andrew Buscaligo, Max Cameron, Patrick Coleman, George Churchill, John DeVrint, Corey Dornsbush, Colin Egg, Michael Ng, LaDonna Groh, Carlos Juice, Christopher Hayes, Alan Jaff, Sean Johnson, Marisa Lyon, Edward McNeil, Michael Onufrak, Matthew Ponton Jr., Sarah Plotkin, Madeline Rabiel, Michael Reese, Lewis Riley, Chris Steidel, Scott Saggio, Michael Scharf, Dan Silva, Tom Smolak, James Stansel, Christine Smith, Tihana Tresnak Smith, Lori Waldman, Philip Wallace, Patrick Walsh, Richard Washburn, Brian Watson, Rob Clark, Jennifer Nolan, Ryan Fix, Cody Wharton, Andre Phillips, Dave Schreiber, Justin Harper, Matt Kelly, Gary Powell. Special thanks to Ashley Chang, Jeffrey Gardner, Todd Howard, the Todd Howard, Mark Lampert, Emil Paglurulo, Laffy Taylor. But Bethesda Softworks 4 moderators: Atrebus, CCNA, Dogsbody, Dreadlord, Fredo, Hungry Donner, Kelrin Timus, Layden, Miliat Tedatus, Princess Stomper, Rat War, Regulus, Rohug, Summer, Telerin, Yasgur. And finally, Xena Max, CEO, Rob Altman, Ernie Dell, Jamie Leader, Cindy Talent, or Talon, if you're French, Griff Lesher, Denise Kidd. She was the controller. She was the controller the whole time. She knows where all the buttons are. Marcia Mitnick. The legal team: Diana Bender, Joshua Gillespie, Amy Young. Human resources: Tammy Boyd Shumway, Michelle Kuhl, Andrea Glinsky, Katrina Lang, Valerie St. Preux, I think it's Prue, Catherine Edwards, Gerard Garnica, Melissa Goolsby, Katia Luatanako, Barb Manning, Patty Palupa, Heather Spurrier, Eric Weiss, Steve Bloom, Rob Havligovic, Josh Mosby, Joe Owens, Henning Selhenis, Paul Tuttle, Keelan Wardle, Bernice Juice, Lauren Martino, Risa Manzano, Paula Casey, Angie Clement, Kenny McDonald. Sorry, I pride myself in getting these names pronounced correctly, okay? It's on me. Wow, I didn't put the pop filter on my mic. That's embarrassing. Sean Brennan, Alistair Hatch, Angie Clement, Dave Gordon. I hope you understand I'm not redoing this. This isn't happening again. This is a one-time only thing. Eat at Rita's Cafe, open all night. Gethin Deacons, Greg Baverstock, Greg Hounsome, Isabel Midrui. I don't know how to say that. All right, Natalie Gosden, Nick Heller, Paul New, Paul Otten, Rebecca Linden, Rob Bartholomew, so we have back-to-back Pauls, then we got back-to-back Robs. We're going forward with Robert Ford, Ryan Wiltshire, Sarah Seeby, and Alex Price. Shout out to Bethesda France, Julie Chalmet, Gail Gombert, Yvonne Raut, Geraldine Mazot, and Bethesda Germany, Frank Matz. Is it Matsky? I think it's Matsky. That sounds right. Marcel Jung, Thomas Hubert, Christian Joss. Do the Germans pronounce their J's? I actually don't know. I'm going to say Joss because that sounds exotic. Christopher S. Parker and Brand Racket LLC. New Vegas Radio, Ain't That a Kick in the Head, written by Sammy Kahn and James Van Hosen, performed by Dean Martin. I'm only going to read the names because fuck these companies, you know? Blue Moon, written by Richard Rogers and Lawrence Hart, performed by Frank Sinatra. Blue Moon. All right. Cobwebs and Rainbows, music by Dick Stephen Walter, lyrics by JE Sawyer, wrote that himself. What a boss. JE Sawyer does everything. It's my favorite. Home on the Waste, written by JE Sawyer, performed by JE Sawyer and Nathaniel Chapman. It's a Sin to Tell a Lie, written by Billy Mayhew, performed by the Ink Spots in 1936. Jingle Jangle, written by Joseph Lilly and Frank Lozer, performed by Kay Kaiser. Love Me As Though There Were No Tomorrow, written by Harold Adamson and Jimmy McHugh, performed by Nat King Cole. Mad About the Boy, written by Noel Coward, performed by Helen Forrest. Ellen! New Vegas Radio, written by J.E. Sawyer, performed by J.E. Sawyer and James Mullally. Something's Gotta Give, written by Johnny Mercer, performed by Bing Crosby here. Streets of New Reno, written by J.E. Sawyer, performed by J.E. Sawyer and Nathaniel Chapman. I think J.E. Sawyer is now the most common name. That would make sense. Okay. Why Don't You Do Right? Get Me Some Money Too, written by Joe McCoy, performed by Peggy Lee. Black Mountain Radio, Big Iron, Written and performed by Marty Robbins. Hangover Heart, written by Hank Thompson and Pat Hagen, performed by Hank Thompson. I Got Heartaches by the Numbers, written by Harlan Howard, performed by Guy Mitchell. It's a Sin, written by William Grishaw, performed by Eddie Arnold. Thank you, Eddie Arnold. That's a classic. Johnny Guitar, written by Victor Young and Peggy Lee, performed by Peggy Lee. Stars of the Midnight Range, written and performed by Johnny Bond, Red River Songs Incorporated. I read a company, dang it. All right. Songs from the Dead Money. Begin Again, music by Justin Bell, lyrics by Chris Avallone and Mike Doling, performed by Stephanie DeBrule. That is my personal favorite song in New Vegas, Begin Again. Additional music courtesy of APM Music. Plastic Wax. Thank you, Chris Van de Heuvel. Dane Madams. The creative director, Nathan Madams. Appreciate it. Brenton Goodwin, Dean Wood, Brett Sinclair, Pete Woodley Page, Luke Sullivan. Thank you to Isan Kiani, Nigel Waddington, Ben Malter. Thank you to Kieran Ogden Brunel. Thank you to Sydney Chen, Jad Haber, Stuart Spord, Kevin Gill, Babel Media. Why did I say it so weird? Isabel Colum, Head of Audio Adam Chapman, Sergio Masabo. Thank you to Liam O'Connell. Thank you to Hampus Flink. The French test team for audio. Got to thank all our international people. Thank you to Adrian Chastain, Fabian Tolson, Gail Gruler, Raphael Esterhazy, and Florine Carlo. Also, thank you to Jana Funk, Heike Schar, Patrick Richard, Julian Tillman, and Mark Granger. The Italian test team, thank you to Francesco Montanini, Simone Della Fornasi, Alessandro Tattarelli, Michele D'Aria, Andrea Cerruti. And thank you to Jorge Saez Gonzalez, Margarita Gonzalez, Jose Jimenez, Miguel Santa Maria, and Maria Prieto, Nicoletta Medio, Sylvian Dufour, Florine Carlo, Pierre Buet, Valentine Sanoner, Mark Granger, Jonas Hariri. Big thank you to Eugenio Zazzara, Andrew Cerruti, Salvatore Novello. Also thank you to Jose Blasco, Jonathan Martinez, Adrian Val Fernandez, and our translators, Claude Esmian, Xavier Kemline, David Lucian, Agnes Laturnianer, Mikhail Pasquet, Frederick Delmaso, Thomas Andre, Burkhard Strub, Studio Mool, the German team, Andrea Beck, Roland Strub, Michael Anton, Old Johann Christensen, Christian Meyer, Marcus Krenbauer, Giovanni Margano. Big thank you to Carolina Turini, Luca Ruella, and Elisa Di Stata. Oh my gosh, Tamara Topini, Antonello Izzo, Giuseppe Tangerini, Paolo Manca, Simona Caldera, Christian Antonio Bruschi, Diana Diaz. Oh my God, Diaz, Montan, Andre Perez Canestro, Jesus Calzado Diaz, Javier Alonso, Ruth Garcia Ordonez, Pax Martinez, Sergio Romero Caballero, Maria Del Mar Aguilera Gonzalez, and Q Barasa. I'm sorry, can't pronounce your name. Hi-Fi Genie Productions. Thank you to M&S Music. Thank you to Local Transit. Thank you to Pink Noise. Thank you to Michael Dunn. Thank you to Karis Bollinger. Thank you to Peter Wilkinson. Thank you to Alan Green. Thank you to Leighton Rooney. Thank you to Dirk Kuistra. Thank you to Andy Selby and Dan Hendricks and legal stuff. So if you're at this point in the video, make sure you accept the terms and conditions that Bethesda and ZeniMax Media Company have laid out in front of you, along with Obsidian. The game uses Havok, copyright 99 to 2010. Visit havok.com for more information. All rights reserved. Portions of the software utilize SpeedTree technology from 2001 to 2004. Make sure all those rights are reserved too. It also uses Bink Video, Gamebryo, and FaceGen from Singular Inversions Incorporated, 2002 to 2006. Thank you to Bink Video, Gamebryo, and Havok. I know we already said it, but without them, this game wouldn't work. Fallout New Vegas, copyright 2010, Bethesda Softworks. Make sure you visit fallout.bethsoft.com.